Mama Bonded.
Welcome to our podcast. I'm Jess.
I'm Mandy.
And we are drama bonded. And today we're going to make good on our promise to review all the Pop-Tarts we said we were going to review and then immediately forgot to review. True. So we're just going to get to it.
We had a little sample platter.
We did. I was really excited about it.
Do you want to tell us all of the flavors?
Yes. So we had Boston cream donut, which is interesting. I didn't pick up on the donut part.
I was like, why wouldn't it just be Boston cream pie?
Yeah. Weird that it was a donut into a Pop-Tart. Snickerdoodle, Apple Jacks, confetti cupcake, and frosted banana bread.
Oh, yeah. Just found the banana bread. You brought this up on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, Saul found the banana bread.
Oh, okay.
We made a special order on Amazon to get all the boxes because we love eating food.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. We were going to go on vacation. So it was a car vacation. So you just pack your whole house, including
5
boxes of Pop-Tarts. Absolutely. What did you think?
I really liked the banana bread. I know that you didn't like it as much as you were hoping to. To me, it was kind of just like the brown sugar Pop-Tart with some banana flavoring in it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't offensive.
I kind of found it offensive. I don't know. I did not taste banana. And I know that I'm the outlier in that because you and Saul were like, no, there's absolutely banana. And I could not taste it.
I mean, there was banana in comparison to no banana.
Right. Yes. But it just wasn't coming through to me. All I really tasted was artificial cinnamon, and that was a bummer for me.
I really liked the Snickerdoodle one. I didn't like the Apple Jacks one. I didn't think it tasted like apples at all.
No, that one kind of was offensive. That was the one where I just was like, I smelled it. I heard you guys review it, and I was like, I don't even want to eat this. And that was true. I was really unhappy about that one.
It kind of just tasted like, I felt like that one actually tasted like cinnamon candies.
Which you really don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did really enjoy the confetti cupcake. It sort of tasted like a sugar cookie to me.
Yeah.
That one I could get behind.
Yeah. And Saul really liked the Boston cream one.
He did really like the Boston cream one. He also tried to heat it up and put butter on it to see if that changed anything, and it didn't. So
I think that's wrong, though. I don't understand how that isn't better.
that does make me laugh. I agree. Shocking that didn't make it better. Butter fixes everything.
Yeah. It's like toasted with butter. That's immediately better.
Yeah. I did put butter in something the other day and found it a little disappointing, and I can't remember what it was, but that was like a real one-off. But I feel like butter on Pop-Tarts is amazing. Saul's wrong.
Especially the brown sugar ones.
Yeah. So, all in all, if banana bread is your thing or maybe Boston cream, I think the thing about the Snickerdoodle one that kind of weirded me out was it was very dry.
Didn't it not have a frosting on it?
No. And I'm looking at the photo now, and I swear it has. Maybe it doesn't. You know what? Looking closely at it, it just has like cinnamon sugar on the top of it. And I feel like that's a little bit of a mistake. I respect what they were going for because Snickerdoodles don't have frosting or,
What do you think needs? Like a glaze?
It needed something. I just feel like, and I can't even believe that I'm saying that because my favorite part of the Pop-Tart is to just like eat around the edge and eat.
Jess, you're contradicting yourself.
I know, but I feel like it didn't work. I don't know. It's almost like it was a whole wheat kind of thing. It didn't work for me, and I'm feeling really bad. Like, I feel like such a wet blanket. I wanted to really enjoy the Pop-Tarts.
Well, we tried them.
We did try them, so now it is done.
Now it's done.
I don't have to look for banana bread Pop-Tarts anymore.
Nope.
Okay.
I kind of do just want a plain brown sugar Pop-Tart to like cleanse my palate after all of those.
Yes. We should make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Next time we hang out, we'll have brown sugar Pop-Tarts. I think probably the most exciting thing about this whole podcast is getting to tell all of you guys about seeing DJ James Kennedy.
Oh my gosh, you guys. First of all, everyone should know that Jess stayed up past 2 a.m.
brutal. I'm still not okay, and it's Thursday.
Jess normally gets into bed around like 8:30.
Yeah, and instead we were like ordering an Uber at 8:30.
Yeah. You were in it to win it.
I was in it to win it.
Buckle up.
I did. I went hard. We all did.
Yeah. I mean, the DJ that was on before James had like a 90-minute set,
Oh my
which
God.
felt so long.
So long. So we get there around like 9.
Yeah.
And at 10, the opening act goes on.
Yeah.
Which is just, again, kind of my nightmare. Like, what do you mean we're starting at 10? But we did. It was fine. That was fun. I really enjoyed dancing to that. And then James came on at 11:30.
Yeah. I will say that in general, I think James's DJ skills are a little bit like average, but I really enjoyed watching him as a performer. I definitely think he brings the energy. He plays it up. He does a lot of dancing and jumping off and shirt taking off, and
Yeah, he's like really into it. And I
Yeah.
feel like he's really engaging with the audience, which is really fun.
Yes.
And like that does go a long way. And there was kind of something about being there, seeing James in the flesh. Allie
he's
got
very
on
attractive
stage.
in person.
Yeah, he looks no different in person as he does on the show. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a hard thing to accomplish, but
And him and Allie were so cute together.
so cute together. Yeah, she came out. She's just as teeny too as she looks on camera, and just like got up there and had fun. And
I don't know. It was fun to see him in person. I had a great time. I felt like he did a good job of keeping the energy up.
he did. He really, really did. I did kind of lose steam like after 1 a.m. I was like, whoa. I am.
Just started winding down.
Yeah, I have a hard limit apparently, and it's 1 a.m. But I felt good about that.
Yeah, you did great.
So that was a blast. Glad we did that. Loved it.
Yeah.
No regrets.
No regrets.
What else do we have for today?
So we
Oh,
were going to talk about the lawsuit between Rachel and Ariana and Tom.
yeah. So, man, I should have done a little bit better job with my notes. It's still the two women that I listened to. You can look them up. It's called Bravo Docket, and they're two lawyers who have passed the bar in multiple states, but they're not necessarily practicing. So they do have that caveat. And they were reading through Rachel's complaint and like the very specific laws that her lawyers are touching on.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that I thought were really interesting, I think her going after Ariana is sort of, I don't actually get the sense that it was to go specifically after Ariana, but to bolster her complaint about what Tom did, because Ariana was essentially the linchpin in divulging it all. And so I think without bringing Ariana into it, Rachel's case would be a little bit harder to like for it to really have teeth. And so, and I know you and I talked about this a little bit off the podcast. Like, I understand where you're coming from and like feeling like Ariana shouldn't be dragged into it. And that, like, I get it from the standpoint of like, that really does suck for Ariana.
Well, especially, I mean, I guess we don't know who she privately shared the video with, like, if she were to show her phone to someone. But if they can prove via phone records that she didn't actually distribute the video to other phones outside of because I think what it was said that Ariana sent the video from Tom's phone to herself, and then from her phone, she texted Rachel the video and said, like, what the fuck is this?
Right. But then there is implication that she showed it to producers and possibly other TV executives. Probably it like, and I understand being in the heat of the moment and just sort of experiencing her own thing and not really thinking about the implications of showing somebody a video of another person masturbating. So like, it does suck. I'm not going to say that like that doesn't suck for Ariana, but I think more than likely what will happen is Ariana's not really going to have to go through with all of this. Like, I think that probably will end up being more dismissible, but I hope that will bolster her claims against Tom for doing this.
What is Tom claiming?
Oh, he is the worst. His lawyers, I mean, I guess when you hire, like lawyers have to lawyer. Tom is claiming that by engaging in the call, she was consenting to the video because it's FaceTime. But the wild thing is his lawyers are citing cases that were, I don't know what the word is, but that had been decided on in 2000, and FaceTime wasn't really a thing then. So
2000?
right, like 24
They
years
didn't even
ago.
have video calls in 2000.
Right. So like it's interesting. Like they're just trying to get out of it by the most wormy semantics way they can.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that Rachel's lawyers did that was, I think, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just have to see how this plays out. Is they filed a complaint, and in that complaint, they talked about Bravo. They talked about James. They talked about Sheena. They talked about the dog rescue that violated her trust there. There were so many things. And one of the points that Rachel's lawyers were trying to make was it's hard to prove outrageous conduct on Tom's part for recording this. And there is a world in which I think that can happen. But interestingly enough, and the thing that these two lawyers brought up was they really muddled the issue by bringing all these other points up in this complaint because it makes it hard to pinpoint that all on Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And had they stayed focused on what happened between her, Tom, and Ariana, that probably would have landed better.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of makes things messy because of all the things that she brought into it. And by she, I mean her lawyers. I doubt that Rachel sat there and dictated this to them and was like, this is exactly what I want my complaint to say. I'm sure that in their minds, they're spinning a narrative. They've got a story. They really want to like connect all of this. And what they're trying to do is connect this all back to Tom. And so I really do kind of at the end of it, after I've listened to, I don't know, probably like, it's like 2.5 hours worth of stuff, that Ariana just has to be listed, not because Rachel's trying to go after her, but just because like that is a piece of how it all got out and how the harm about that, her not consenting to the recording has really impacted her. And there is a case for that, right? Like Tom
Right.
should have never recorded Rachel.
Yeah, of course.
And so, yeah, it's all been it's interesting. I'm really curious to see how this all plays out. If it does go to court, Tom's lawyers are as sleazy as he is. One of the things that the women doing this podcast mentioned, though, is that Tom would be one of those assholes that thinks he can outsmart a lawyer.
Oh, of course.
And any lawyer could probably, in a deposition, just like really give Tom a false sense of security, and Tom would just hang himself with all the rope.
Yeah, that's true.
So part of me is like really hoping that this happens because I would love to see Tom in a legal setting, right? That would be joyous.
Yeah.
I do hope that Ariana does not have to go through with all of this.
Yeah, I think, and I do believe what you're saying, that it makes sense that she had to be a part of it based on the fact that she was the one who discovered the video. I just think it's unfortunate that it's not a great look for Rachel.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think when that's happened, it's not a good look, but I feel for both of them for different reasons. And like, I think it sucks that Rachel's in a position that she has to talk about a video of her masturbating and how that all got out.
I mean, yes, all of that is bad. But I also think that like, and I said this via our message, it's like, Tom should be held accountable. That's disgusting. And her privacy was violated and all of that. At the same time, I believe that Ariana was violated in multiple ways, and Rachel is not able to be held legally accountable to those things. And so I'm not trying to minimize why Rachel is like doing what she's doing, but I also think like, I don't know.
It's a horrible case if two things are true, and it really fucking sucks. And
like, I don't think Ariana wanted to find the video.
No, and I guess like realistically, the take-home message is if you ever find a video of your spouse with another person or a recording of some sort,
don't do anything.
Do nothing with that video. Like, and of course, every state is different too, right? But like, revenge porn laws are the way that they are for very specific reasons, and I think that that is good. And I'm glad that there are less workarounds for things like this. And unfortunately, they have to exist because there are assholes out there who will exploit people. And revenge porn is a very real problem. this is one of those really weird, rare moments where it doesn't feel right, but I absolutely understand why those laws are in place, and I'm glad that they are.
Yeah, I agree.
And it does actually, of all the legal stuff that got read through. I mean, Tom's lawyers, they got very creative. Ariana's lawyers seem very smart, which is good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, ooh, Ariana's hired a good legal team. Rachel's lawyers also seemingly like very creative. I don't know how this is going to go, but
Well, yeah, because they sure dressed up a lot of language and
they did, which by the way, I found very interesting and kind of abhorrent that like James, I guess, kicked Rachel's family dog 4 times and had outbursts, was really
allegedly.
allegedly, right? Like this is all allegedly. You can say whatever you want in a complaint almost. Like a complaint is not the same as like saying something under oath. Like you
But
probably don't want to like outright lie, but you do also have sort of carte blanche to say whatever you're going to say. And so it sort of has to be with the caveat of like, none of this is like beyond a reasonable doubt, factually proven.
so why were all of these things brought into this lawsuit if it doesn't have to do with Tom and Ariana?
Well, I think the goal here was to build a narrative and to really show all of the damage and how everything was really conspiring and working against Rachel and how Tom really was the catalyst for all of this. And especially given that he recorded her without her consent. And had he not done that, a lot of things would have gone very differently. She might have had the possibility of being in control of her narrative. They both could have. And, they talked about this on the podcast. This happens. She almost immediately goes into a treatment facility for her mental health and probably having this horrible reckoning of realizing Tom wasn't the person she thought he was and working through this with her therapist. I think that there was just a lot that needed to come out. And Rachel claims that she was gagged by Bravo, though there is no like actual legal document or any sort of like official gag order saying that she couldn't say something. But she's claiming that Bravo did not allow her or didn't want her to speak up. So she was never really able to say anything. She just really took everything in silence. And she did for the most part. Like now she's got her podcast.
About when? Like after she left the show?
Immediately after, like in the immediate aftermath of everything coming to light, we didn't hear from Rachel. And
I thought that's just because she was in the treatment facility.
No, it was apparently because Bravo was saying she couldn't or shouldn't say anything, and she was taking that seriously. I'm not really sure why. I mean, I have no idea. So that was something that was in the complaint. But I think the whole complaint is really just to paint this picture of like the damage that was done to her, and that the catalyst of this was really Tom and Tom manipulating her, recording this, and her prospects now. Ariana is a pop culture darling. Tom got more money and some sort of deal through they kept talking about like a development deal. They being Rachel's lawyers in the complaint that was filed said that Tom got a salary raise and got some sort of development deal. So they came out much better off. And not only did she feel like she couldn't return to the show, but she's really the one wearing, of course, the scarlet letter.
She was asked to come to the show. She didn't come back to the show because they weren't going to pay her what she wanted to get paid.
Right. And didn't feel that it was a good environment for the money that was being offered.
Yeah, I think.
But that's going to be a hard thing to prove, right? Like, and that's where stuff gets kind of tricky is like, this is all fine and well, and you can feel this way. But then to bring this to a court of law and to make this case legally is no small feat.
Yeah, and I also think it's interesting the argument that like she could have been in control of her own narrative, and it doesn't matter anymore because there's no way we will know. But I really don't know how long it would have taken Rachel to be in control of her narrative if things hadn't exploded the way they did, and she hadn't had to go to the mental health facility, and she hadn't kind of been in this concentrated position to have the support and people and tools she needed to kind of make the progress and realization she did, because otherwise she probably would have stayed in a relationship with Tom, and she would have continued to be manipulated by Tom, and Tom would have controlled like how he broke up with Ariana, how him and Rachel were seemingly building a relationship together. Like,
For sure.
Tom would have continued that entire storyline that he was already in the works of developing.
Yeah, it is really hard to say, but I think you're right. Had she not had that opportunity to, in a way, process that with a therapist, who knows where she would have really landed.
Yeah, because she still would have had the support of her friends, seemingly. Like, things would have gotten messy if Tom and Ariana had broken up and her and Tom had seemingly started dating, but it would have been entirely different.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm not really sure, like, personally, and obviously not a lawyer at all. I do think the move to add all of that to the complaint is just like Sue Bravo. Absolutely. Go after them.
Yeah.
Sue James, go
Yeah.
after him. Sue Sheena, go after Sheena. I don't give a shit. I think that's all great. Do it. But like, it does seem bizarre to me to have like a very real case of being recorded without your consent and revenge porn, and then to bring all of this other stuff into it to make the issue seemingly just more muddy. Like, I don't really, and we keep saying seemingly because it's just unclear why you wouldn't just stick to the thing, like your
Yes.
actual complaint.
Well, it just feels like it's almost distracting from what she's actually trying to achieve.
Yeah, or just taking a moment to like really dig at everybody else. I don't know. And like, if she wants to do that, fine.
Right.
I'm not here to judge her. I think that everything that in the complaint, like, yeah, this all does really suck for Rachel. And she did come out on the bottom for sure. But if you're going to do this, like, don't make it more complicated.
Yeah.
But I'm not a lawyer. I'm not Rachel. I don't know anything. These are just my uneducated opinions on, a podcast or two.
Yeah.
But I did think it was really interesting. So I wanted to share that. And maybe now you guys don't have to listen. But if you want the details, the women are very smart. It is all really interesting. I enjoyed listening to it all. So, and in good news, something about her.
Opened.
2 great reviews, I might add.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I only know this via like what people have said on Reddit based on people who actually live in LA. But LA Eater, I think. I posted the article on our Instagram page, so you can go read it there. But they got a really good foodie review.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the line, like, was past Sir. So people were standing in line in front of Sir to get into something about her. And after the shade that Lisa threw at them for the sandwich shop not being open, all I have to say to that is eat it, Lisa. And Lala.
Yeah, Danny Pellegrino went and he said that he had a sandwich he would have every time he would go back.
Yeah, they showed photos of the sandwiches and they are thick ass sandwiches too. They look really good. When things settle down, you and I should go.
Yeah, I would love to.
I will eat a sandwich there, absolutely. And you get a little side of grapes with it. I think that's perfect. So I'm glad for them. It is officially open. Hopefully we never have to hear about all of that ever again from the rest of the cast.
I guess Penny is still like legally 10% owner or something.
Well, she's claiming that she is, though. I read, did I send you the article where she doesn't have anything in writing, just a verbal agreement. And I don't know, again, not a lawyer, but as far as I know, verbal agreements don't mean shit.
Yeah, they don't mean anything.
And so you can be mad. And I think if that really happened, Penny can
be mad
and let people know that Ariana and Katie were shady as shit. But like, why are you like, you're going to go to court over this? Like, oh, you're just doing this to be vindictive. Like, I think probably to try and settle something. I don't know. That sucks. So it's not like without its issues at the moment.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this, that Penny knows Lisa. So that also is not great.
Well, they got access to Penny through Lisa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good luck to them on that. I'm glad it's not me.
All right, reunion. Who was your favorite look in the reunion?
Oh my God, James.
His pink suit is delightful.
I found it on ASOS, but they don't have. I don't know if I could honestly fit into a men's slim fit suit. Like, I just am not obviously cut like men,
but you could get it tailored.
Yeah, unfortunately, any size that I think I could fit into is sold out. But it was cool. I really expected that suit to be like top end, but I think full price for the whole thing was probably under $350.
Oh,
but
hell yeah.
for like a really nice looking suit, I'm not saying that's cheap, but like that's also not as expensive as I would have expected a suit to be. So,
Same.
what about you? Best
I
look.
would say James and then Katie.
Katie looked smoking. Even the necklace underneath of the dress between her breasts, so well done. Like,
So well done.
and it fit her like a glove.
Right?
And her hair.
Her
And
hair, her boobs, all of
everything.
it.
Yeah, Katie looked like perfection.
I love Ariana, but her dress was one of my least favorites.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not really generally a fan of gauzy sheer stuff overall. It's a hard look to pull off. Ariana looks good, but yeah, it's not.
I do think that the dress is better standing up. I didn't think it was a great seated dress. Like top up, waist up, it kind of looks like a bad bridesmaid's dress. I also was wondering, like, what the fuck was going on with her hair. I don't know. I was just like, really? This is it?
Yeah, she's had so many good looks. So this one, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Even her look in the after show with the blue. We've talked about it already, but I'm like, come on.
Yeah, she's looked so good. Yeah, not a win. I think, well, we heard right out of the onset that wasn't her first dress. She talked about the neck vagina,
Oh.
which I had to Google. And you can find Trump with his neck vagina.
Okay.
I guess it would be a vulva. I don't know if vagina is the right word for it.
Yeah, vulva.
But yeah,
Neck vulva.
neck vulva.
I thought Sheena's dress was very Sheena.
Very
and
Sheena.
Predictable.
Good as gold, of course. I hate Tom Sandoval, so I can't even
Why is he wearing another green suit?
I don't know.
What is up with this emerald suit jacket look? Because he had it in the ITMs. And
yeah, he got that suit at Zara, and the
one he's wearing at the reunion?
I think so. And the interviewer, I think this might have even been the notorious New York Times interview that the interviewer was kind of throwing shade at Tom for the way that he was like conducting himself in Zara, trying on suits and being like, women's clothes are more flattering. And like, dudes, wear whatever you want to wear, but Tom Sandoval is just generally really insufferable. So
I do like his fashion sometimes. And so when he shows up in this emerald green suit again, I'm like, why? Why this color? Why this cut? We've already seen it on you. It wasn't good the first time.
You know what would also go such a long way is to put on like a fucking nice button-up shirt underneath of it and not a wife beater. Wear something different under that suit and we might have a look. But for him to also style it with a tank top, I can't. He thinks he's cool and he's not.
Yeah.
Schwartz is completely, I can't even think. He's just doing his normal professor thing because like I can't even think about what he's wearing. It's like gray and red.
I wish Brock. Okay, so I'm actually the most annoyed with Brock's fashion. It's like so 90s Vegas and in a bad way though. It's
Yeah.
like,
You can have like
trying too hard always.
always. Yep. Especially, I mean, with the after show and the sheer tank top and the net and the boots. Yeah, he's always.
It's like pick one.
Yeah, you can have a statement piece or a couple, but it can't all be statement all the time.
No.
It doesn't work.
Especially when you're a large man. You can't be statement.
No.
It's just like too much.
Too much. Allie looked great. Joe was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't love Joe's earrings.
I don't know if I love Joe's dress.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a little like dated.
I can see that.
I loved Allie's green dress.
Allie's green dress is so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you wear green, Tom.
Yeah. Take cues from Allie.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
So the meat of the thing. I really am so glad we can probably never talk about this again. Andy opens up asking Ariana about living with Tom.
So she bought her own house and she's currently like in the in-between stages of like kind of living in New York, kind of getting out of the house she shares with Tom, kind of at an Airbnb. It kind of seems like she's all over the place.
Yeah. But it also makes sense to me why she stayed in that house for legal reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wish everybody could pull their heads out of their asses and get that because her lawyers told her to stay.
Yeah, she had to stay.
She did not want to be living with Tom.
But also, why isn't everyone asking Tom why he's still there?
Yeah. And the point was brought up that when Jax cheated on Brittany,
Tom told Jax he should leave.
Yeah. But the rules don't apply to Tom Sandoval. Tom Sandoval is nothing but a hypocrite. So not surprised by that.
So what do you think about Schwartz potentially financially investing in Tom's house?
They are such a hot mess.
I loved Lisa's reaction to this. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. And like, I don't want to shit on people for being in their 40s and having roommates because there's so many reasons to do it, right? But like these two yahoos are not doing this for any reason other than they're idiots. Like,
No, I think they're doing it because they know they can somehow make money off of it. But I just wish Schwartz would realize that being attached to Tom has not done him any financial favors. Aside from
no.
being like showmates.
Yeah. And like having to buy into this house, it just doesn't seem like a good idea generally.
Well, the fact that Lisa almost changed the name of Tom Tom because it was
So
losing
bad.
them money. And then they didn't have one episode filmed at Schwartz and Sandy's because of the risk of losing more business based
Yeah.
on how the season went.
That Greg was like, no fucking way are you
Yeah,
guys filming
so it's just
here?
like, dude, learn a lesson. You can be friends with him, you can film with him, but maybe don't continue like getting in bed with him financially.
Yeah, and he's clearly not showing that he is a reliable financial person. He still owes his mom her entire retirement, which is probably also why he doesn't want to sell the house because he would have money then that he would have to give to his mom.
Well, yeah, and he should.
He should. Yeah, and then Tom being like, my dad's 60 and still has roommates. And it's like, okay, not the brag you think it is. So what, Tom? I don't know.
Then they start talking about Rachel. I thought this was all very interesting.
Tell me what you thought was so interesting.
I was just surprised that they talked about it so much, period.
I was kind of too. Like, it was really pointed. Tom calling her a coward. And it's like she was literally in a mental health facility getting help. But sure, Jan. Lisa, I love that Lisa was like, I don't listen to the podcast.
Well, she definitely has people that listen to the podcast for her.
Who wouldn't listen to that podcast? I do not for 2 seconds believe that they are not all listening to that podcast.
I really enjoyed having them argue about what grooming is.
Yes.
Because I was like, Tom, you don't even know what you're saying you aren't. You don't even know what it is.
Right. That he tried to say that was like only related to pedophilia. And it's like, no, my guy. I love that Lala was like, coming in hot with the definition. And of course, Tom has to be Tom. And he's like, well, I was really susceptible when she took her clothes off and got in the pool. And you're just like, how the fuck did somebody just not turn and punch him right then? Like, oh my God, Tom, it's not the same thing. And the fact that he said that in relation to grooming just confirms
a lot.
Oh my God. Yeah. Do you want to get into the mental health of it all?
Sure.
So trigger warning, I guess we're going to talk about suicide. So if that's not something that you feel comfortable with, just fast forward a little bit and we'll make a note of like in the notes when to pick it back up. So Tom in this feels like he brings up again the fact that he felt like Ariana was weaponizing her mental health.
Yeah, he basically was saying that Ariana was manipulating him to stay in the relationship by threatening that she would kill herself if he left her.
Yeah. And the fact that Tom just cannot understand, I don't know. So realistically in this situation, what you do is you leave. If that was what was really happening, Tom should have left.
But Sheena did say that.
She did, that you leave and the rest of us will pick up the pieces.
Mhm.
And I think that's right. Like, if that is, in fact, being, even if it's not intentionally being, if Ariana did say that and Tom did feel like it was manipulative, okay. And even if she was being serious about that, that is not on Tom.
No.
And Tom not being able to see that, or I don't know, it just makes Tom's whole side of this feel not believable. I don't know. I hated this. I hate that he can't understand that regardless of the intent behind Ariana's words, he handled everything poorly.
Well, and it's also just so interesting that then and again, I'm not saying that Tom Sandoval wasn't suffering with his mental health after all of this.
But that was a problem also of his own making. But yeah, continue.
But then he relies on this mental health narrative to help bring compassion and
rehumanize
himself after he demonized Ariana for the same thing.
Yeah, and to Tom, it's like, okay, guy, if you are really struggling, then leave the show and also go get help.
Yes.
And
Lisa, don't tell Lala and Sheena to act differently towards Tom's to protect him.
Yeah, that was really fucked, especially because she is a producer. Like, the show as a whole then needed to get Ariana help. It needed to get Tom help. They needed to get Rachel help. Rachel shouldn't have had to foot that bill for the mental health facility. Tom and Ariana shouldn't have had to foot any bills for getting help from them. Like, if you are really being pushed to the point of suicidal ideation because of a show that you are on, that really falls on Bravo and the producers. And I think it's colossally fucked up that the show didn't do more to help them, all of them.
Well, I feel like in a way it is minimizing something that is a really big deal when we're just, and I'm not saying any mention of suicide is casual, but I'm saying it seemingly feels like the show is kind of taking advantage of the subject as a storyline instead of actually investing in resources and the help that these people need.
Yeah, and exactly. And the other point too that I wanted to make with all of this is suicide is really complicated. And when you have people who are suicidal or really struggling, it isn't always clear how to handle things. It isn't like, I think by and large, a lot of us don't know how to deal with this. So there is part of me that's like grateful, at least, that there are dialogues happening and that this isn't being swept under the rug and it is being talked about. And on the flip side, yeah, I'm with you. It's really hard to watch the show and feel like they are just using it as a storyline rather than an opportunity to really discuss a very real, complicated problem.
Yeah.
And that's a huge bummer. I hate it. And I didn't really appreciate it. So
Well, and the fact that Lisa was only invested in Tom's mental health and well-being after everything.
Right. And not Ariana, who also had talked about struggling with depression even before
for multiple
this.
seasons where she had one-on-one conversations with Lisa about it.
Yeah. Like, where was that concern? I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but Katie was on Danny Pellegrino talking about Lisa, and he brought up the fact that Lisa only defends the men, and Katie was kind of like, well, the women don't do stupid things. And I thought that was an interesting point. But then we get back to this moment, and it's like, no, there's really clearly something going on with Lisa where she is so much more willing to go to bat for the guys than she is the women. And I hate that. And I think that that's really colossally fucked up.
It is.
So, suicide is very serious. And the way that this show handled it, not great.
I'm kind of happy to skip over the Lala and Brock of it all.
Oh,
I don't really need to
boring.
focus on either of them.
Okay. I did think it was interesting that Ariana made the comment that she didn't watch.
Okay, yeah, I actually want to know your opinion on this because I've heard this subject come up on a couple of podcasts and it's pretty controversial.
Is it?
Yeah.
Tell me. Because like I said, I try not to listen to podcasts, at least not till after the fact. So I don't know anybody's takes on things.
Well, I think it was Danny Pellegrino who said that he thinks that it should be a part of their contract to watch the show. And I do kind of understand why, because if you think about it, as a player in one of these shows, it's really important for you to understand all of the dynamics of every scene, whether you're in it or not, because it could have to do with you, even if you're not in the scene. So in this season's case, all of the ITMs or the back conversations with Lala and Sheena concerning Ariana. Like, Ariana isn't privy to any of that because she didn't watch the season. And if she had watched it, she'd be coming into this reunion with, like, knowing all of that, even though she didn't experience it in person.
Right.
And also that you could carry all of that into the next season, right? And just like Lala brought up that scene with Charlie.
Oh, yeah, where Ariana didn't defend her.
Yeah, and so it's kind of important, especially in reality TV, to understand all of the players and like the roles that they're playing throughout the season and how it's connected to you, in order to create storylines and continue them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
And so when Danny Pellegrino's was saying it should be required, I was like, that's interesting. But also on the other hand, I totally understand Ariana not wanting to relive this just because it was a really dark, hard period in her life. And it's like, I don't need to watch all of that. I lived it. I just want to move forward. Because I'm pretty sure she has watched other seasons. I think this was a
one-off.
But then there was also Sheena, I don't remember where she said this, but she also went on the record saying that she only watches the scenes she's in, which I'm like, oh my God, that's such a Sheena thing to say.
Oh, that is a very Sheena thing to say.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting that it's kind of causing some issues that Ariana hasn't watched the season. And it is kind of doing this reunion a disservice.
Right, because Ariana ultimately is saying very little.
Yes.
And I do kind of see what you're saying. Like, I don't know if I agree quite with Danny's reasoning there, but I will say it isn't a ringing endorsement of the show if the cast won't watch it and engage with it in the end.
The show does better when the cast engages with it.
Yeah, it does. It makes for a much more interesting thing. I guess where I kind of land though overall is I respect Ariana for not wanting to watch it in a way, because I think, like you were saying, that's like such a dark time and everybody was not handling that well. And I'm sure she could read the writing on the wall with the way that the conversations were going with like Sheena and Lala, the fight that sort of happened at the astrology night. Like, I think that Ariana, rightly for herself and not as a character on a reality TV show, but as a human being and a person, chose to step back, because there's part of me too, like, and we'll get to this in the second part of like, nobody really respected her boundaries. And she does not want to engage with the show, I think, in a way, because like her boundaries have just been perpetually disrespected. And so like, I kind of get that, like, that's like her last line of defense. But yeah, as a viewer, that does make for less interesting television, because
I
she
see
really
both
has
sides.
said nothing.
Yeah. I see both sides.
Same. I do get it. I don't know if I believe that it should be in a contract, but like, yeah, that I think it would have been.
And there are actually other people on Bravo who don't watch these seasons that they're on. So it's not just Ariana.
Right.
But I do understand from a producing perspective the role that cast being more engaged with a show plays and how it helps them create better storylines.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting conundrum. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
then we talk about Lala and Katie's little confrontation.
yeah.
Dude, I am so fucking sick of Lala.
Thank you. Same. Like, really so sick of Lala. And the fact that she has just zero awareness of anything is just killing me. I hate that she tries to call Katie out for not being real.
Well, and her argument is that Katie was venting about stuff that was happening with the sandwich shop to her,
while Ariana was getting opportunities to go to Broadway. And like, I guess Katie didn't know about that. And to be fair to Katie, I do think that like, I would be kind of pissed too.
Yeah.
Like,
if I was in business with someone and they were not showing up, not helping with A, B, and C, I'd
and
be
then
annoyed.
they were going to go to another, like literally the other side of the country. Yeah.
But you also understand that they're getting out of a toxic relationship and you maybe can't take these problems to them.
Right. Because Katie is fucking, emotionally intelligent. And so she went to who she thought was her good friend, because even Lala admits to this. Like, her and Katie are tight. And I think Katie felt safe going to Lala and venting about that. And then for Lala to turn around and like air all of that and then act like Katie's not being real by refusing to have this conversation on camera. Like, again, it goes back to the point of, these people do not owe us every single moment of their life on camera.
I do think it would be different if this happened during filming and Katie wasn't willing to have it on camera. But this happened before the season started airing. And Katie said by the time they got to filming that she was over that.
And she'd already talked to Ariana about it.
Yeah.
And things were settled. So like, why would she rehash it? And that does seem weird. I cannot imagine being like, okay, well, we're going to pick up this storyline that happened a few weeks ago, even though we're all totally over it. And like Katie was saying, I think in the after show, she can't pretend to be mad at somebody when she's not mad in the moment. Like, she's not going to drum that back up. And that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, especially if they've moved past it. She addressed it with Ariana. I feel like Lala's just mad because she looked like a bitch this season for not supporting Ariana. And so now she's trying to make Katie look bad.
I know. And her stupid line about nothing about her. It's like, that is not the zinger you think it is.
No.
Like, stop saying that.
Also, just like fucking support your friends.
Yeah, I'm so surprised.
You're such a hater. You're so petty right now, Lala.
but somehow not towards the men. That ire is only directed toward the women. And that is just so disappointing too. It's like there's not even consistency. Because if she wanted to go at everybody with that kind of energy, we could be having a different conversation. But the fact that she's like hanging out with Schwartz, hanging out with Tom Sandoval, and somehow finding an infinite amount of patience with them, but not Katie and Ariana, get out.
I loved Ariana's comment about how Katie's always been authentic to the point where she's been hated for it on the show.
Because she has.
Yeah.
Nobody has liked Katie.
Yeah, she
until
was herself, even when nobody liked her.
Yeah, Katie has been actually very consistent. Like, Katie has always been Katie, and
there was many seasons I did not like Katie.
I know, you warned me about her. Like, when I first started watching it, I was kind of giving you the lay of the land as I saw it. And like, I don't like any of these people too much, but like Katie was somebody that I sort of like related with and was like, I see Katie. I get this. But like, I think Katie really had her redeeming like season in season 10 and this season. So
I feel like the season her and Schwartz got married was really rough for Katie.
It was
a hard Katie. I mean, it's not a good Schwartz season either, but
but I think at the time,
gotten married.
No, that was abundantly clear. So the show was definitely a product of its time, and I think the benefit I had of watching it when I did is all the information that I had ahead of time. So yeah, do we want to move to part 2?
Yeah.
We still are in this with Katie and Lala by part 2 because it kind of cuts with them talking about it. It opens with them talking about it. I don't know what else to say. Lala's just dumb. I don't think that Katie owes anybody this conversation on camera. Ariana's fine. Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever. I do love that Brock went at Schwartz.
Wow, one of the only redeeming moments for Brock.
And Sheena to just turn and be like, you are a really shitty husband.
Like, where is that coming from? Where has that been?
Okay, first off, the fact that Brock just turned and said all of that, like, so, not that Brock isn't articulate, but like, he said that had to have been a rehearsed line. Like, there's just no way that Brock.
I'm still okay with it if it was.
Same. I was like, wow, I love this moment for all time. And Schwartz's face of just complete disgust that they were calling him out for this. I was like, finally, somebody telling Schwartz what he needed to hear.
Seriously.
Not getting into this like dopey, well, I don't know, man. Like, you fucking do know. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
And then we see a montage of Schwartz's cheating.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting that they really protected James in all of this.
I mean,
James is clearly the number one guy.
Very calculated.
For sure. But yeah, all of Schwartz cheating. And Sandoval. And
then we get into the Sheena and Schwartz's kiss. I still hate the way Sheena plays this off.
I do too. Of just like, she's like, I was doing the best I
didn't
could.
even remember it. I forgot.
She definitely she made calls to it throughout.
Yeah.
She didn't forget. She kept that in her back pocket to lord over Schwartz, and is like, I think, a really smug way for her to feel somehow vindicated against shitty Katie. Yeah, I don't buy it for a second.
And then when she goes on to say that like every guy in the cast has come on to her.
Oh my God.
This is such a Sheena moment.
It is again. I was going to say
Sheena.
Yes. Damn. She is too much. I am also very over Sheena. Though I don't have the same anger towards her as I do Lala, but man, yeah, Sheena. Oh my God, Sheena.
Sheena's more consistent than Lala.
Yeah, Sheena has been Sheena from the get-go, apparently. I watched her tell Brandy that she was really sad about what happened for herself.
Yeah, Sheena is just a more extreme version of herself. Like, as she ages, she just doubles down on it, being like, what about me? So I feel like this season, Sheena was just true to Sheena. It was just like, on caffeine.
Yeah. And what's so interesting, they got brought up a little bit, is like, again, and I keep saying it, Sheena's feelings are valid. She can have a friendship with Tom and she can have a friendship with Ariana, and she can feel like both are at risk at the moment. Just don't talk to Ariana about it. And like listening to that phone call when Sheena called Ariana from Tahoe, and then her explanation of like trying to make sure that Ariana understood that Sheena was nervous about that. It does seem like Sheena is an over-explainer and not very good at communicating things and just didn't understand how to talk to Ariana about these things.
Yeah, but the problem is like I feel like she doesn't internalize when Ariana tries to push back on her and like set a reasonable boundary, and she makes it more of an Ariana problem than a her problem.
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, I understand, but also you need to like learn and try to be better.
Yeah, I agree completely. Sheena just is like incapable of learning from her mistakes. Sheena's not growing. She's just leaning into Sheena behavior.
Yeah.
And it's not working for her. And I think Ariana, to her credit, has been so gracious with Sheena. Because even when Sheena's like, I just say things wrong. And Ariana's like, same girl, same. And it's like, damn, even in these moments where I feel like Ariana would be so justified in being absolutely furious with Sheena, she's still not.
Exactly.
And in a way, I do think Ariana's preserving friendships by not watching this season back.
That's probably true.
Yeah. I also have a theory that Lisa leaked that Ariana was going on Dancing with the Stars.
Really?
Well, Lisa knew. Who else leaked it?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people probably knew.
Well, they said they didn't, that it was Lisa, Dan, Ariana. And I think that was kind of like the thing that I got from that was like very few people knew.
Why would Lisa know?
Because I'm sure that like as a producer of the show, I would imagine there are like contracts to work out. Like I just imagine from like a business standpoint, Lisa knowing makes sense.
I guess my point is if Lisa knows, I feel like other people on the Bravo team know. You're probably right. It could have been Lisa.
Well, I'm not saying like Lisa herself sent the email
Yeah.
or like dropped it, but like I could see that being Lisa's idea to like
yeah.
create some chaos.
Yeah, she's good at that.
Yeah. Allie and Joe come out. I love that Allie. Oh, really quick. It did make me laugh when Andy asked Ariana who she told that she was going on Broadway, and she sat there and like looked around at everybody and was like, I didn't tell anyone.
That says a lot.
It does say a lot. I thought that was very interesting.
And then Sheena was like, well, I kind of knew, but only because I was in your trailer.
Yeah.
And everyone knew but me.
Always about Sheena. Yeah. Okay. So,
what did you think of Sheena being like, I do want to do it, just not this year?
Oh my God. I know. Like,
you don't get to pick when you do it. That's not how it works.
You know what? I just need Sheena to be on Dancing with the Stars. I really do. I don't think she's going to do very well.
I think she'll do fine.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I am so curious. I want her to be on it just so that we can see.
I mean, I don't know if she'll win, but I think she would go, like, I think she'll go far.
Okay.
She's a performer. She likes to, like, be on stage.
I just can't imagine her dancing well. I haven't seen her move well, so I don't know. Because we've seen Ariana as a dancer, but I've only seen Sheena sing, so.
She was dancing in that first season that Ariana was her backup dancer.
I guess that's true. It's been a minute, but yeah. Well, maybe Sheena will get lucky for her birthday.
And she's been practicing, so.
Oh, God, she took classes. That's right. She'll be fine. Okay, so Allie and Joe come out. I love that Allie, $195 an hour.
Damn.
I know, we went into the wrong profession.
Yeah.
What am I even doing getting degrees?
Yeah, we should move to LA and be birth chart people.
God,
I think you also have to be, like, probably famous.
I was about to say, I think it helps that she's kind of, like, tangentially well-known. Like, that pulls business.
And also super likable.
For sure.
Not
because I'll be honest,
problematic.
there was part of me that's like, I need to get a birth chart reading from Allie. And I'm like, you're never going to get that done.
I would do it.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get it done. That is so much
money,
money,
We can plan our trip to LA around that.
Yeah, go eat a sandwich, spend $400 each on a birth chart.
Wait, it's $400?
Well, $195 an hour. Do you think she's going to get done with that in an hour? I hope so.
How long does a birth chart take to read?
I don't know. Does she have to do research, like put it all together? Like, do you get charged for that? Is it like lawyers where they're kind of like, they're going to bill for the hours?
I had a friend who was pretty decent at this, and she, like, when she saw my signs and when I was born and like all that stuff, she was able to kind of just start going into it almost like a tarot reading where like they have a foundation of knowledge that like, oh, this at this time means this da, 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 da. And I mean, I'm not saying that in general that's how it works, but I think that if you're a professional at doing that, you can see someone's chart and just start kind of like making those connections.
For sure.
But I mean, don't quote me on that.
You know what? I tried to do a birth chart reading online, but then I realized you had to give like a lot of information. And I was like, I'm not going to just give like the exact date and time that I was born to some random website along with like my full fucking name and all this other stuff. But yeah, so okay. Yeah, that makes sense that you would have like some of that on retainer and then just be able to like piece it all together.
Yeah. And maybe it's way more involved than that. But I think I'm sure people who are really experienced at it probably just know a lot of those things.
Okay, so 195. I can roll with that. I really felt for Joe. We talked about this a little bit before we started, but tell me your thoughts again. Like, how did you feel about the Joe of it all?
I just found this whole section of the reunion very cringy on all parts. Like, I was cringing for Joe. I was cringing at Joe. I was cringing, like, at the fact that Schwartz was still deflecting and not taking accountability for anything. I don't know. The whole thing was just stupid.
It really was. And Joe is so awkward.
She should not be on TV.
No. And there were moments where, yeah, I'm with you. I was like, damn, I really feel for Joe. And then it's like, you know what, girlfriend, you got yourself here. I thought it was fascinating that everybody was like, Schwartz was the only person you could go live with. Kristen Doty literally lived around the corner. And Schwartz tried to defend that and be like, well, she was going through stuff. And like, that may be true. But when Joe moved in, she blocked Kristen.
Yeah.
So there was like shady shit going on there.
I'm sure Joe had other people / family in her life that could have been options to stay with.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. And then it's also weird to like get involved with somebody who you know is going through a divorce, but they've been together for 12 years.
And you message the ex-wife just to be like, hey, I know that you're going through this hard thing, like tra-la-la.
And then to like within a day or two move in with their ex-husband and not say something about that, like for Katie to have, like for everybody to find out after the fact and it not be, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. And I understand that Katie was really harsh on Joe, and I'm not going to like say that she was right in that. I think that was taken too far.
And Katie did take accountability for saying, I said shitty things.
Yeah. And what's so frustrating in all of this too, and I know this bugged you, was like when Katie started to say that, Joe was like playing dumb and like could not really hear what Katie was saying because she was like doing this dumb little act.
What?
And then absolutely.
What did she say?
I know. And then could not bring herself to understand the harm that she also caused Katie. And to like be like, hey, I get why you were upset with me, and I'm sorry for my part in that too. And I don't like the fact that Joe couldn't do that. I just like, get out of here, girl. I'm done with you. You don't have a backbone to be on TV. Like, just go.
I do think though that like when Katie started going into what a hard time she was having, and they started showing some flashbacks of last season and all the bullshit she was being put through by Schwartz. Like, and we said this after recapping the finale. It's obvious that Katie was just really fucking hurt by Schwartz, and she was perpetually having to face the same situation over and over and over again because Schwartz was disrespecting her in the friend group.
Yeah.
And so, yes, was Katie projecting some of that hate and anger onto Joe? Yes. But was Joe also like living with her ex during a really like volatile time?
And playing dumb about it all too. And like refusing to acknowledge, because the reality of it is if you are emotionally intelligent, you should have the ability to be like, I understand why Katie's got issues here. And off camera, Joe needed to have a conversation with Katie.
Yes.
And like a real heart to heart and a hard conversation. And Katie may be fucking scary, but like Katie is also somebody that I think you can talk to. And the fact that Joe made no attempts to do that and really just tried to push this off on this, like, well, Katie's just a bitch. It's like, well, why is she a bitch though? Like, it's not for nothing. And both Joe and Tom have a lot of responsibility in that. And they're not taking any ownership. And Katie is at least willing to.
I have issues with Joe just playing the victim in that scenario. And I
Yeah.
also have issues with Joe just playing the victim in the scenario with Schwartz, because it's like, you at some point have to realize that this man is feeding you lies because he knows that you care about him and he's not able to show up and be the person that you want him to be.
Absolutely. And he's like shown her that time and time and time
And
again.
she's still going. I mean, I don't know about like right now, but like up until very recently, she was doing Instagram lives and saying how she still thought she was going to spend the rest of her life with him.
Well, and that I told you this. I think we talked about it. She realized that he blocked her on Instagram and is not talking to her anymore. Like, they don't have a relationship at this point. And like, yeah, part of that is like Schwartz was definitely in the wrong for all of this.
Yeah.
And if Joe didn't want to be friends with him, totally understand that. But like, Joe, at this point, you've been told, and now you are also just disrespecting
Yourself.
and what Schwartz is telling you. Like, listen to the words he's saying. He's telling you now. Even if he didn't, he is being clear now. So what are you doing? Like, yeah, she's wild.
She needs to stay far, far away from this bubble.
Yeah. It was weird that she left being like, I had fun with all of you, except you, Katie.
Jesus Christ. Like,
Okay.
how old are you? Did
That
you not
beef literally just got settled 30 seconds ago, and you just had to fucking go stir the pot again. And Katie just was like, I love that Katie will take shit, though. She said nothing.
Yeah, she's like, okay.
Yeah, whatever. So, hopefully we are done with Joe. No more Joe.
I really don't want to see her on my TV again.
Same. Ooh, and then Joe made the comment about wanting to date Aaron Rodgers. Like,
She also made that comment on Instagram.
ew, she did?
Yes.
Oh.
I watched one of her Instagram, it was a story. Maybe it wasn't an Instagram live. And in the thing that I watched, she said she wanted to date Aaron Rodgers.
You guys, Aaron Rodgers is a fucked up human being. That is so bad. Like, Joe loses me there. I'm done. Like, I can't even defend that. QAnon, he's awful. It's just bad. He is like not, it's beyond. He's not a good person. And that's fairly well known. So I don't know what Joe is doing. They talk about James' sobriety.
Yeah. So Lala is over 5 years.
5.5
James is
years.
almost to a year again.
Well, he said in April it would be a year. So
Oh, so he's over a year
it
now.
is over a year now. Good for James. Good for
Yeah.
Lala. I think they're both, I mean, Lala is clearly not our favorite person at all, but I think in a lot of ways she's come so far from being drunk and flying off the handle the way that she did. And James has really gotten his shit together too.
She is less reactive.
She is less reactive. Absolutely. I will hand that to her. And like, good for her for recognizing, and for James, that like that was not good for either of them. They were not their best selves when they were drinking.
I think what Ariana said though rings true in concerning Lala of just being the loudest person in the room until she's right.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with Lala. And Schwartz's brother's doing well. That's awesome to
Yeah.
hear. Like, he got his kidney transplant or liver transplant.
Liver transplant.
And is doing well and has a new lease on life. So happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Love that for him.
James and Allie are someday going to get married, just not right now, which is fine.
Yeah, Allie's so young.
Yeah, 28.
Like, don't get married right away. And if
No.
she's using his ass, like, definitely don't. I don't know when she gets out. This is, like, hard to come back. Well, I don't know. I mean, you just end a relationship whenever you want to end it. But
Yeah.
she seemed into him when we saw them.
Yeah, either she's a really good actress or I don't know.
Yeah, like, I also think there's a world in which you can date people with no intention of marrying them and just enjoy somebody's company. Like, marriage is such a bizarre straight person thing. So,
It
like,
would be hard though. Like, if my only issue with that is if the person you're dating is like, I someday want to get married. I see myself marrying you.
right,
and you
right.
don't see yourself marrying them, then that is problematic.
Right. You should probably communicate that because, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. They talked about Anne, and I think that it's so Tom is like, everything needs to be on camera, but then he talks about how upsetting it was to hear all that on camera of Anne, like, wanting to go work for Ariana.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And it's like, which is it, Tom? Do you want everything to be on camera or only things that make you look good?
Probably the latter.
Yeah.
I think Tom has, like, changed scenes based on what he wants to be shown and not shown.
Yeah. I've heard that he'll do reshoots or,
Yeah.
like, ask things to be done differently. So, yeah, for sure. And I think Ariana was right that, like, I'm sure Anne didn't love working for Tom, but I'm sure a lot of that came to a head by her having to be the mediator in the house.
Oh, yeah.
But also that Anne would wanna go work for Ariana and be part of I don't love this term, but we'll go with it, of, like, girl boss, like, that's fine. Anne can do that, and I really hate that, especially men, and I've witnessed this in my own thankfully not me personally, but with other female colleagues of particularly male bosses trying to bogart what they can do based on, like, their feelings on it or how they perceive it or, like, what it means to them, and it's like, another person's career has nothing to do with you, and I feel like especially when it comes to a male supervisor or boss and a female underneath of them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I fucking hate that. If Anne wants to go work for Ariana,
Well, especially in, like, an assistant type role.
yes. Yeah. She's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And I think working for Ariana would be far more interesting because Ariana's actually doing shit.
Yeah.
Not partying with people who lose chunks of hair.
Do we know if she's working at the sandwich shop right now?
I think that was my understanding is that she's at the sandwich shop. How much money are these people making in the sandwich shop? Like, I will go work for a sandwich shop if
Yeah,
I
me
could
too.
make a livable wage.
Well, in California, maybe.
Yeah.
They're I don't know, you probably get paid more than minimum wage, plus, people in California maybe tip better.
I would hope so, but I don't know. The sandwiches seemed reasonably priced, so I mean, I don't
Maybe they're doing one of those bullshit systems where they have the tips built in, so it's like you buy a sandwich and you're automatically tipping 18%.
I mean, I don't think that it necessarily I'm not opposed to prices being higher so that you can pay employees more and not viewing that as like tipping, but just, hey, we have to charge more so that we can pay people more.
I think that's different than showing the 18% that's added onto your bill.
Yeah, for sure. It's sort of like, yeah, I see that. But maybe they're just charging more for sandwiches and paying people well.
And that would be great.
That would be awesome. And tell us.
Yeah.
As if Anne listens. But anybody knows, I'm curious what people are paid there. So, anything else about the reunion?
I don't think so. What do you think is going to happen in the third part? I guess they show that they watched the last 5 minutes of the episode together.
Yeah.
And Tom's crying and Ariana's like, I just want you out of my life. And
I'm not ready for that. I think that's going to be hard to watch. I feel like Ariana has done such a good job rising above. And I feel like she, at so many points, could have just unleashed on these people. And she really hasn't. And I think,
I kind of wish she would.
I mean, right? It would be
Just, like,
satisfying.
once.
Just really let everybody know what a piece of shit they actually are. But like Lala and Sheena, and I think it's going to be if she watches that last 5 minutes with, all of that taking place, like I know that's going to be really hurtful. And I just don't think Ariana deserves that. And part of me
No.
can't help but feel like that's just production being really fucking manipulative
Well, yeah.
by withholding that. And then the only person that's going to impact negatively is
it's
Ariana.
Ariana, yeah.
And that makes me mad, and it sort of feels vindictive of like them.
Well, you
getting
didn't watch
back
the
at her.
season, so you have to watch it now.
Yep. I hate it. I hate that.
I mean, it doesn't make Lala and Sheena look good, though.
yeah. I did post about it on her Instagram that there was a blind that Lala thought that she was going to get her own spinoff, but then I don't know what Q ratings are. I should have looked that up, but apparently she was not well received by the audience, so they decided not to give Lala her own spinoff. And like that's kind of sweet vindication. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
because, man, she has been the absolute worst.
Yeah, and don't want to watch Lala right now.
No. Or Tom Sandoval.
No.
Give them their own show and get them off of this one, and then I never have to watch that show.
Anything else?
I did think it was interesting. It wasn't really much of a point, so I don't want to say we forgot to talk about it, but I thought it was interesting that Andy brought up Tom's New York Times article, and everybody was just like, "Yeah, Tom, shut the fuck up." And Andy was like, "Maybe you should fire your PR team." And I think that that's right.
I think that's right too.
Yeah. Tom is clearly not capable of having like smart people around him because he himself is not smart. I think he is somebody who,
No, I think he's legitimately stupid.
for sure, and therefore does not make good decisions about people around him. And I'm sure people around him will encourage him to do things that will ensure that they continue to have a job, not necessarily
Yes, I
like
think
what's
people
best
take
for
advantage of Tom
Tom.
because they
Yeah,
can.
they can.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny. But that's kind of it. We've got the next version, part 3. I don't know why I said it like that, but
So I think the next time we podcast, we're going to do the 3rd segment, which will be obviously shown on TV next week, but we'll probably do our next podcast 2 weeks out, and we'll be recording about the last installment of the reunion and then also summarizing the rest of the Valley.
at least maybe. Is it done?
It is done. I think it ends the week after this one.
Okay, cool.
And there is no reunion for the Valley, which is also angering a lot of people.
Wow, that reunion would be, I don't know. I don't know if we could trust Jesse to like show up to a reunion and not assault somebody.
Well, I mean, yeah. But I guess it's common for first seasons of Bravo shows not to get reunions. But also, I think they're wanting to carry, because obviously a lot happens. Like Jesse and Michelle, we know, get divorced, and Janet and Jason have a baby.
And Jax and Brittany are at least currently separated.
Yeah, Jax and Brittany are separated. So I think my understanding is they just want to carry all of those storylines into season 2 if there is a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I kind of stopped watching The Valley for a minute. It got to be a little much, but I'm ready to pick it back up. I think now that Vanderpump is wrapped up and I can just focus on that.
The most recent episode I watched was entertaining.
Okay,
It's worth talking about.
cool. I'll get on that. I'll be ready.
Anyways,
Cool. Bachelorette starts July 8th.
Joan is the Golden Bachelorette.
Yeah, don't know when that's airing. I did hear that part of the reason that we're not getting Bachelor in Paradise is not necessarily because the show wasn't successful, but the resort is either closed for renovations or something was going on and they weren't able to film at the resort that they normally
They can't
film at.
film somewhere else.
Well, think about it. It does kind of make sense of like that it might be really hard scouting location wise to find a resort that sort of fits what they're looking for because that place isn't huge. That's a really small
but it
resort.
doesn't have to be at a beach. Like they could film a version of Bachelor in Paradise, like in a mountain lodge. You know what I mean? Like they could do it in a lot of different places. I think that's kind of a bullshit excuse, personally. I'm not saying that excuse isn't the excuse they're telling people. I'm just saying we filmed Katie's season in fucking New Mexico.
And everybody hated it.
That is true.
So I don't know. That's what I had heard that they just like scouting wise. They're also trying to, of course, milk the Golden Bachelor. They think that for some reason we're all just going to like.
But we don't want the Golden Bachelor over Paradise. We want Paradise. I want both.
I am fine to have this season with Joan. But the more that I think about it, finding 30 men at this age that are not total fucking assholes, creeps, weirdos, whatever, like none of these guys have been to therapy. None of them, like, I don't know. I'm worried for Joan. And like, I just don't think that this is like a repeatable thing. I think what we captured with Gary and Teresa and that whole thing.
It was a novelty.
It was. And the thing that made it was all of those incredible women.
Yes, the women.
The women. And I really, no offense, dudes, but I just don't think they're going to be able to bring the same kind of energy that all of those women did. And it's going to get old really fast.
Literally.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Pun
also,
intended.
it's the same formula as The Bachelor. And the reason I like Paradise is that it's not the same formula.
Yeah, and it drops a lot of that Christian purity bullshit. And we just get the mess of it all. Like, though nobody used the boom boom room recently,
Yeah.
still fun. And it feels more relatable, more like this is what dating is.
More relationships come out of Paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about things they could do to spruce up Paradise, but I don't know, just like
Yeah, I'm bummed too because like you pointed out, they could have done with the Olympics coming up, they could have done something with that. They could have brought contestants back for a Bachelor Games. Like there's a lot of things that they could do, but instead they think that we're all just going to fall in line and be fine with the same show with just different age people.
I also feel like the show is going to struggle recovering from Joey's season
Mhm.
because Joey's season was so good and we haven't had this light of a lead in a long time. And so not only are we going to go from Joey's season, but now having no Paradise, I'm just like
And we have so many good women on Joey's season that would have been
Yeah.
absolutely excellent on the beach.
Yeah, I am excited for Jen's season. I'm just saying, like, man, Bachelor, you got to step it up.
They do. Well, and I'm nervous for Jen too. I hope they don't do her dirty. And that's always a part of me that gets nervous when we have somebody other than a white Christian woman show up on this show. The show doesn't always know how to handle this. And like, there's a part of me that's always like, oh no, what's going to happen here? Like, please, production, do not drop the ball. Do not do her dirty. Let this
Well,
be another really
hopefully-
good season. But you're right. It's hard to come on the heels of Joey's season. And they've not had a good track record with.
Production has changed a lot, though.
They
since
have.
then. It's
So hopefully-
it's being produced by an entirely different team. So let's just like cross our fingers and hope that they're learning from their mistakes. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I want Jen's season to be great. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be an incredible season of The Bachelorette too.
Maybe.
So time will tell. July 8th will be here in no time. Looking forward to that.
Okay.
Well, that's all we've got. Thanks for listening, you guys. It means the world.
Yep. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Drama Bonded is produced and hosted by Jessica Brumbach and Mandy Booth. Graphic designer is Pigeon House. Special thanks to everybody who has downloaded and listened to us. We are so, so grateful for your support. Thank you.